This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, it is.
That's a new sound.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to AIWF Ringside Wrestling. I am Mad Matt Carter. Happy Labor Day weekend to you. For you auto racing fans out there, happy Southern 500. It is, boy, we have had quite the wild weekend. We did a big TV taping in Mount Airy last night. Well, TV, ROKU, internet, whatever the fuck. I'm old school. I say TV. Got 3 episodes in the can, and boy, there was a lot of excitement going on last night, was it not?
It was awesome. It was awesome, and our next big show is Fright Night, which is October 28th. So that means we got 2 more ROKU tapings between now and then. So anything could happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brian, you were calling most of the action. What did you think last night?
Yeah, it was a very, very exciting show. I was very happy with the action that was going on. So yeah, it was very exciting. Very happy with it.
How about you, Reagan? You put the shit together in the back, made the graphics
it was good. It was nice to see some new faces. Mm-hmm. We had several either guys who were debuting with AIWF or hadn't been around, in a few months, or some of them maybe over a year. So it's really good to see some new faces, to see some older faces that haven't been around. I think really the 3 shows stacked up very well. I was very happy with what I saw. I was happy with the matches. I think we've put together a really good 3 episodes of the ROKU channel.
Yep. And
very soon.
Yep, and you'll be seeing those very soon. Episode 437 is being processed by YouTube right now, and we'll probably.
Oh, you got
it. Yeah, it'll go up later tonight. Yeah, but that's some copyright issues that I got to trim out, and that takes forever. So, it's all right. I'll make it go away.
It's music, ain't it? It's goddamn music every time.
Yeah, because it's our video. There's never an issue with the video. It's always the music. So we've got to figure out a way in when we're doing it there to drown out that music better. Mm-hmm. People at the building want to hear it, but we got to figure something else out of it. Yeah, it's like when it goes on YouTube, there's an option. Anybody's got a YouTube channel knows this. If you pop hot on a copyright, it gives you the option to trim out the segment. But when you do that, it takes YouTube forever and a day to do it. That's why this show was so long getting on YouTube last week, because we had 4 copyright strikes with the Terry Funk footage that we showed. So if you want to see that, you got to watch it on Facebook. And I had to trim all that out, and it was Tuesday night before I was able to get it all out. So that's an idea how long, and it was only about 4 minutes total worth of footage. So gives you an idea.
The inner workings of this. I guess we're going to have to edit 2 shows. We're going to have the ROKU and then edit where it just starts at the beginning of the match. For the YouTube, maybe?
No, that's too much work, and I like the music being able to be on there on ROKU. That's another reason.
No, that's what I'm saying. Keep that on ROKU, but then have another edit for YouTube. But that's gonna be a lot of work, and I don't do that. I don't do that part. I'm not the editor. I'm the producer.
Well, with the feature on YouTube where you can trim it out, instead of saving everybody some time, I can go ahead and put it up and just click the thing, walk away from the computer, and 2 or 3 hours later it's fixed. So but anyway,
I feel like if we could get enough commentary over the music, maybe we won't hear it good enough that the algorithm will catch it.
That could happen. Yeah, could happen. All right, so let me get our slideshow going. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It is AIWF Ringside Wrestling for September 3rd, 2023. Quick reminder, we're on Instagram. You can search us out at AIWF Mid-Atlantic Wrestling and Diesel 24/7. For those of you listening, that's DEEZEL 247. That's where you can find us on Instagram. You can find me on X
or Twitter. You can still type Twitter into the URL and get it at Mad Matt Concord. Not just wrestling there, but general footage of people doing stupid things and getting hurt. So that's always fun. So we talked about Terry Funk last week, and I wanted to revisit something. Thanks to Reagan for being diligent in her search, was able to post the promo.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't
Chris
you?
Tenney. Chris Tenney is the one who found it, and then
God dang, Chris Tenney strikes again.
Chris Tenney, and then Chris Tenney sent it to me, and I put it up. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So I have found that thing, and I'm gonna play the audio. I gotta be careful how I do this so we don't get another damn copyright strike. And I spent all night letting the thing edit it out.
It's gonna get to the point where everything you do is copyrighted.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, at some point, Yeah. At some point, God bless, everything's gonna be copyrighted or nothing's gonna be copyrighted.
Yeah, we're gonna get into. I got something planned for our third segment after we talk about OVW and Netflix, about Spectrum and ESPN, and I want to get you guys' opinions on. But anyway, here. Let me do a test, see if y'all can hear this audio.
Get a break here, but he did show back up.
Can you hear that? Okay. All right. This is the audio of the promo Reagan was talking about where Terry Funk tells a story about his pet and his father when he was a young boy.
World War I. I thought we might get a break here, but he did show back up. As I mentioned, fans, next week I'm going to be visiting with Ric Flair's doctor about his injury, and we'll be filing that report here next week on the program. I'm sure Ric Flair is watching this program right now, Mr. Funk.
Terry Funk does wrestle. I am the best in the world. Now, as simple as minded as you are, you might be able to understand the story I am going to tell you. My daddy was a wonderful person, but he understood life more so than the executives of the NWA. You see, when I was a young lad, I had a jackass, and I loved that jackass. But that jackass broke its leg. And when that jackass broke its leg, my father took that jackass and put a gun to that jackass's head and blew that jackass's brains out. I said, Daddy, Daddy, why did you do that to my jackass? And my daddy said, that jackass has no more place. It's useless. It is no more use to our operation. We can't shoot Ric Flair in the head and blow his brains out, but you, as members of the NWA, can put him out to pasture. Now is the time to put Ric Flair out to pasture. Now I believe that the man wasn't injured. You say he was. Whatever the story might be or the truth might be, let's put him out to pasture and get to the top 10 contenders. Now Rick Steiner is no longer a member. Why can't I take his position because of his injury? Who do I talk to? Who is they? Who runs the NWA? Who makes the top 10 list? Is it you, Ross?
No.
If it's you, Ross,
not me.
I will get down on my knees and I will beg to
Yeah, this is where it gets weird.
I will beg
Funk's on his
you
knees
to put me in that category because I am the best wrestler in the world today. Why can't you and you people out there realize that, please?
Oh man, and then he starts crying. And so I remember being so weirded out by him, you know, when I first got exposed to him. Well, okay, sorry. But yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
If that's not the greatest wrestling promo ever, I don't know what is. I mean,
you don't get them like that anymore.
No, because you could tell that was just genius, and it was so disturbing. And it was, when I first saw that, I almost, oh my God, I don't even know. I was just blown away. I was just like, I cannot believe the things he is saying on broadcast TV.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it was, I'm glad Chris Tenney found it. I was super excited that now I have that, you know, somewhere that if I ever need it, I can go watch.
But
Yeah.
you know what? You know what that kind of reminds me of, though? We're getting ready to go through something like that, I do believe. Something similar.
What?
Something similar. And I can spoil this. We're going to do a spoiler. It was announced. It happened last night. We do know that at Fright Night, Justin Flash will be putting the AIWF Mid-Atlantic title on the line against Corey Edsel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there's anybody that would remind me of Terry Funk going after Ric Flair, it's Corey Edsel going after Justin Flash.
Boy, it's funny you say that, because that interview that I did with him last night, boy, I'm telling you, it's another one that kind of made my blood run cold. The things he was saying, and you're gonna have to wait till it comes out on the Roku channel to see it.
To see how he got that shot.
Yeah.
When it comes out on Roku, you'll see.
Yep. And I did capture it on fan cam, but I can't upload it to the computer because the file's too big. It'll end up on YouTube when I get the all clear to put it up there. But that's going to be a few weeks. So just bear with us, folks. That's why you got to come to the live shows, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, you know,
you get 3 weeks of TV and 3 hours. So, and well, less than that really. So,
yeah.
So
what about the guy? Is it true that there was fans fighting over David Parrish's T-shirt?
It's absolutely true.
Exactly. It was true. I'm talking about it was a tug of war for that shirt. And then whoever got it, I think, put it on and was proudly wearing it.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I've got any footage of that.
If you got footage of that, put it up. Because David Parrish was coming back to the dressing room. He looked at me and said, I've never had that happen to me before.
I'm looking now.
So there you go.
I started, the fan cam, I don't film the whole match. I can see the kids up there with it, but I think they had already stopped fighting over it.
Yeah, I got a pretty good shot of it from the switcher. So
you'll see it on Roku.
Yeah, you can see it. You can definitely
see it on the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll definitely see it. It was right across from the hard cam. You can't miss it. Because, I was standing ringside and I saw it clear as day.
Our fans are getting so into the shows. It's almost like you want to blow up some beach balls and just throw them out there so they can bop them around like at a concert.
Yeah. I'd be concerned
doing that. Having people stage diving.
Yeah.
Crowd surfing.
Well, those guys from the fair, they every time they come back, they bring more friends, and they are a rowdy bunch of teenagers, and we absolutely love having them there.
We love them to death, man.
And they love Kevin Phoenix. Oh my God.
What I love about that group of boys is at the fair show, I could tell because, I was out there doing the announcing, but I was sitting up there too. And when they came in, I could tell that they, one, thought it was a joke, and they were prepared to make our lives a living hell for doing wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that fair show, that Saturday, was it Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night, yeah. We won over teenage skeptic boys of wrestling. And how many people can say that? Because I could tell, I was like, those boys are going to be jackasses the whole time. But I'll be damned if those people working that show that night didn't turn them around and make them wrestling fans.
Right. Yeah. And they haven't missed one since.
No, they have not.
There was a deal with Steel. They were there last night. They say they're coming back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, because they were asking me outside. They were like, "Hey, when are you guys going to be back?" And I was like, 2 weeks. I'll get you the date later, and we did. So, mercy. I am looking for that clip of Kevin Phoenix working out And I'm gonna play
that's
that.
got to be interesting.
Okay.
That the one he done backstage is circulating really hard right now. That thing has got. Last time I seen it had over 600 views.
Yeah,
in just a few hours.
It's going to get a few more on this show because it was Kevin Phoenix is trying to turn over a new leaf, it looks like. So the days of having girls eat dog food off his chest seem to be gone. Let's see here.
He is a cult of personalities.
He's something. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. Check it out.
Yeah, this one.
4, 5, 6. Hey, howdy there! It is I, Kevin Phoenix, the new and improved Kevin Phoenix, and I'm going to tell you about Phoenix Power and getting fit with Phoenix. Look at me! I am at the best shape of my life with Phoenix Power, and you can have the Phoenix Power too. You can get fit with Phoenix because getting fit with Phoenix is fun. So let's do it. Are you ready?
Comments, thoughts?
All I care about, and I'm sure Reagan feels the same way, is we want a Phoenix Fit exercise program on the Roku.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yes, 100%.
We got to have that. I don't care if and you know what else I want? I want him to do a fitness program, and I want people to film themselves working out with him and send it to us, and we'll post it.
And it looks like he's got some experimental stuff that he shared with Ty Tyson, Phoenix Power.
Ho-Pow.
Well, look.
Oh, Phoenix Power. I thought it said Ho-Pow.
Phoenix Power.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason it's throwing you off is because there's one letter written in black, one in blue, one in black, one in blue. Black,
I got you.
Black and blue, because he's a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes. It's certainly strange, but hey, this is the AIWF. There's a lot of strange goings on. One thing that's not a strange going on is we finally have the bracket for the women's world title tournament, and I am stoked about this. So we knew Clara was in there, and that match is going to happen at our next show on September 6th. Easy for me to say. Let me try that again. September 16th at Veterans Park in Mount Airy. Clara will be going up against Amanda Kiss from Ring Wars, Carolina. And then out on the West bracket, as you can see there, if you're watching, Stormy is going to take on Mindy Grace, and that match is going to happen September 23rd in Wichita, Kansas. And then after we determine who's going to the final, we'll be able to tell you more as to where the final is going to be. But the rumor is we're
going to get through these two, and then, as you know, we've got a West bracket and an East bracket, and we've got to get dates lined up, and we got to make sure people aren't already booked. The winners are not already booked somewhere, because wrestling nowadays, they book way out in advance. So as soon as we know, we're shooting for West Virginia for the finals. That's our goal. So as far as the date and everything, we will let you know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to seeing Clara and Amanda Kiss go one-on-one again. The last match they had ended in controversy. But yeah, I'd like to see that now that Amanda Kiss has got a few more months of experience under her belt. I still think she's in big trouble. Just me putting it's not a bold prediction. I mean, come on. Clara held the Mid-Atlantic Women's Championship for best part of a year. So, yeah. I mean, but anything can happen, right? It only takes 3 seconds.
Either one of those four girls will represent the AIWF strongly.
Yes.
Clara and Amanda Kiss, they represent well in the East region, and the girls from Kansas, they represent well in the West region. So any one of those four will make a fantastic world champion.
Yeah. We will see what happens. I'm excited for that. It's going to be good to have the world championship being actually defended again and back in the United States.
Yes.
So, all right. So let's talk about that. Now, we know that there's got to be some changes made to the poster, but this we got to get the date out there and everything so everybody knows. Our next ROKU taping is Saturday, September 16th. It is at Veterans Park, of course, where we always are. It's $9 for the floor, $6 for the bleachers. Bell time's at 7:30 p.m. And I see Mickey Fulp on the poster, Kevin Phoenix, Todd Tyson, Jeff Paul, Joe Harrison, Justin Flash. Oh boy, the champ's going to be back. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Are we going to try to do 3 again next time or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 3 again.
3 more in the can. So come on out and check it out. I see Ryan Mantis there. So a couple of new faces. I don't know, but there's probably the people we got to.
Yeah. That's another story altogether. It'll be dealt with.
Yes, indeed. But the date, that's the important
indies,
thing.
baby.
Yeah, it's typical indie stuff. But yeah, the date's important. Saturday, September 16th. So and if you're in the chat and Facebook, you're planning on coming, man, shoot us a line. I can't see it, but I think Reagan may be watching it. But anyway, there we go. Saturday, September 16th, 2 weeks from yesterday. So 13 days away. Don't miss it. Be a lot of fun. Right. And real quick now, hands down, I'm going to read these ads real quick. And Premier Auto Detailing, hands down, the best car cleaning service in town. You can reach out to them at 336-883-5722. They operate in the Mount Airy area, Surry County. But if you want them bad enough and the price is right, I'm sure they'll come out a little further. But if you just need your car cleaned up that you've not been using in a while, or if you're like Mad Matt Carter and just lazy and don't like to clean a car, and you want to hire somebody that'll do a great job and get it cleaned up, and you call these guys, they'll be glad to help you out. Also, they do commercial services. So if you've got like a towing company with trucks, or you own a used car lot, they can help you with jobs like that. Premier Auto Detailing, give them a call. They'll get those cars and trucks and SUVs cleaned up for you and get them looking showroom new. Call 336-883-5722 for more information. That number one more time is 336-883-5722 for more information. And Tees Creations, custom apparel, custom tees, sweatshirts, hoodies, all kinds of stuff. If you need something for the family reunion, a little league team, church league, softball, whatever, they can help you out. You can visit them at teescreations22.com. You can see them at Tees Creations by Allied Apparel on the Facebook app or on the site. That's Tees Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook. And you can search them on TikTok, Tees Creations. They do live sales from time to time. Rick Diesel, do you have any idea when they're going to do the next one?
No. Tristan's been a little under the weather, so I'm sure as soon as she gets out of that, she's been fighting that for a couple of days now. So
yeah,
as soon as she gets past that, she'll be back on there. She's excited. New stuff coming out. It's a fall line. The fall line is coming out, and she gets all tore up over that.
Yeah, everybody around here, these parts, if you live in the southeastern United States, you know that fall is like a blessing that can't get here soon enough this time of year. And everybody is just so sick of the hot weather. They just want it to end. And so I think people think that if they decorate early for fall, that will help make it get cooler soon. And that is simply not the case. I don't care if you start drinking pumpkin spice on August 31st, it's going to stay hot till usually the second week of October, at least here in the Charlotte area. So, so, hey, I admire your enthusiasm and wanting to get fall here. And, football helps, but it's still warm. But Tees Creations, check them out at all the different places we just talked about. TeesCreations22.com, Tees Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook, and TikTok, Tees Creations. Look for them there. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, boy, we'd love to have you. You get a read just like you heard just now for only $10 a month. And look, if we take weeks off, we don't send you a bill. You get 4 weeks for $10. Okay. We're putting a headlock on high advertising prices and would love for you to join us. If you just need to plug something for a week, we'll be glad to help you out with that. Only $6 for a week. If you need a video commercial shot, we can help you with those too. Rates for those are $30 per month and $20 per week, but we'll be glad to shoot it, put it together for you, anything you need. Or, you know, if you've got one already made, we'll air that, you know, so check us out. We'd love to have you. We're on all these formats. Although Stitcher is going away soon. I need to take that out of the graphic. It might be
It's
already
gone.
It's already gone.
Yeah.
I thought I heard y'all say not too long ago it was about done.
Yeah, well, Apple owns it anyway, and so it's like, you know, why you're putting a hat on a hat, right? You already have Apple Podcasts. That's like the number one podcast thing next to Spotify. So I get it. They're them getting rid of it. So, you know, hopefully nobody lost their jobs, or not many people lost their jobs over that. But anyway, Facebook, we're live on Facebook every Sunday night. The show posts soon after on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. You get all those on the audio apps, just about anywhere you find your favorite podcast. And when we can get it to work, and I can get the file to Rick Diesel, he puts it on Roku sometimes. So
I will.
Yeah, so it's just getting the getting the necessary space to get it over there. You can email us at AIWF20@hotmail.com if you got any questions about advertising or any questions about the show, or if you'd like to nominate us for Marconi, we'd be tickled to death to hear from you. So I got to move into another segment about some big news going on in wrestling on a nationwide basis. But would anybody like to wrap up what we were talking about earlier about everything that went on last night? It was a good time, and I can't wait to
just watch for those episodes to come out and keep up with us. We're leading into Fright Night now, so a lot of interesting things are going to be happening over the next few weeks.
Yep. We'd love to come. We would love for you to come see us live. That almost turned into a Magnum TA promo. Let's see here. All right. So might as well put it out there. CM Punk has gotten the axe from Tony Khan. He's history from AEW. Gone. See you. Gone. Bye-bye. No more CM Punk. Allegedly got into it with Jungle Jack Perry. I shouldn't call him Jungle Jack. He's Jack Perry now, but I put a slide together of all the principles involved. Got into it with Jungle Jack Perry. I did it again.
Jungle Boy. Boy.
He's not Jungle Boy anymore.
Well, no, it wasn't Jungle Jack. It was Jungle Boy.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling him Jungle Jack.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, he's not Jungle Boy anymore. And, you know, a real classy act by the reason the Young Bucks are there is real classy act of taunting the crowd in Chicago after the show went off the air last night, jogging around the ring like CM Punk. I don't know which one of them's which, but you know, you guys are supposed to be executives. I thought that was kind of like not classy.
They're children. That's the problem with AEW. They got good stuff, but they're children. They're all children. And why did anybody think Punk would last long anyhow? He's trouble follows him like a bad odor.
Yes, it does.
Well, you know, and it was a legitimate. In the beginning, it was CM Punk's response, but it was a legitimate concern that happened backstage because Jack Perry wanted to use real glass in some kind of spot. And so CM Punk, you know, took exception to that. But then I think instead of just like discussing it like grown-ups, I mean.
Well, that's not exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
He wanted to do the spot, and his agent told him not to do it. Tony Schiavone told him not to do it, and he still insisted on it. So they approached CM Punk and be like, hey, man, since you're one of the senior members of the locker room, would you go talk to this guy and talk him out of doing this spot? And so Punk.
That's where they messed up.
Yeah,
that's where they messed up.
Yes.
There's so many other people that could have went and talked to him. They picked the wrong guy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. Like getting CM Punk involved blows it up. Like if you just have an executive conversation, agent or owner or booker or whoever's producer, whoever's running the backstage, you're the one that should set them aside and say, look, this is a terrible idea. And if you want to get, and if you want somebody who's been in the business longer or whatever, keep it with Tony Schiavone. I mean, like, you know, adding CM Punk to it was like adding gas to a fire.
Yeah, well,
right. You don't get a lit match to go talk to a gasoline can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I wonder why at some point Tony Khan himself, unless he was just so busy that he didn't realize any of this was going on, and that's entirely possible.
Is his locker room so badly run that he don't have a chain of command that don't include CM Punk? How about the Big Show? Was he there? How about Taz? How about anybody?
Mark Henry. Mark
Henry could have probably talked him down very calmly and professionally. Don't get the goddamn biggest hothead in the freaking locker room to go talk to somebody about not doing something they want to do.
And there has to be somebody that is friendly with Jack Perry, or somebody that he, works with. Everybody in the locker room has a locker room buddy.
A mentor.
Have somebody else say, hey.
Not in the AEW. I mean, according to Adam Page, they don't listen to the older guys. So, I mean, and that came out of Adam Page's own mouth. So,
I don't know.
Well, why Adam Page go talk to him?
But it's just the whole thing is messed up. Like, you don't use real glass. I mean, that's just, you should know that, right? Don't you think? Like, but I don't know what the spot was either, and I don't know if he wanted to use.
He was going through a windshield.
What kind of glass?
He was going through a car windshield. No, he was going through a car windshield. That's why when the thing blew up at the pay-per-view at the pre-show,
that wouldn't have worked anyhow.
He walked over and patted the glass on the car and said, I can't remember what he said, but CM Punk was a gorilla, and so and he knew that was directed at him. So when Jack Perry came back, CM Punk got in his face. Words were exchanged. I heard CM Punk put Jack Perry in a front face lock. There's so much going around, but that part seems.
Well, why is Jack Perry still there?
Huh?
Why is Perry still there?
I don't know. I guess it seems like everybody hates CM Punk and
exactly. But the thing, it sounds to me like Jack Perry antagonized the whole thing to begin with.
He did. I mean, I would think it would be right for him to go too, honestly.
Yeah.
But see, this is the first time I've heard anything like this happening with Jack Perry. So maybe written corrective action. Hey, if you do it again, your history, but some type of disciplinary action. Tony Khan seems like a really nice guy, and I want him to succeed. But if these wrestlers keep fucking with him, eventually he's gonna turn mean, and you're gonna be wishing that you had the Tony Khan now, back. Because you might turn him into a supervillain, evil tyrant wrestling promoter, and nobody wants that. So they need to quit fucking with him. I feel bad for the guy. I know he needs to take control of his promotion, but then it only got uglier. As I don't know if you guys have seen on Twitter today, but Tony went out to address the crowd in Chicago, and we'll take a look at Twitter and a listen, and this happened.
At this point, what I'm going to say, but I think it's important that I come out here and talk to you about it before Collision and All Out this weekend, because I really respect all of you. I'm a wrestling fan like you, and if I were in your shoes, I could totally understand how a lot of you feel one way or the other. But I just want to tell you, I'm out here because I had to do something I did not want to do today. I'm very sorry to fans or anybody who's upset by it. This week we conducted an investigation independent of me. I have a discipline committee in AEW that is independent, and it's comprised the majority of lawyers. And I also brought in outside legal counsel. I hired independent lawyers to investigate this and make a recommendation. This is different than anything I've ever been involved in sports or wrestling. It was very tough. When I met them,
listen carefully.
The unanimous recommendation was the action that I took. The action that I took came as a result of this investigation, but I have to say it stems from an incident backstage last weekend at AEW All in London. I've been going to wrestling shows like you for over 30 years, and the first one I ever went to was with my dad, who's here tonight, downstate in Champaign, Illinois. Thank you, Dad, because without him, none of this would be possible. and that's why we're here. And everything I know about business, I learned from him. He's a family businessman. This is a family business. And I care about the people who work here. That's the production staff, that's everybody that works here. The wrestlers, but also people you don't think about every day that make the show happen. Well, I've been going to wrestling shows for over 30 years as a fan, and I've been producing them on TNT here for almost 4 years now. And this is the first time, this incident, that I have ever feared for my safety in a wrestling show, that I have ever feared for my life in a wrestling show.
Shut up, you pussy!
Oh, yeah, that was rough, man. Having to tell the people in Chicago that you fired CM Punk, and the official statement reads, All Elite Wrestling has terminated the wrestler and employment agreements between Phillip Brooks, CM Punk, and AEW with cause effective immediately. The termination was confirmed today by Tony Khan, CEO, General Manager, and Head of Creative of AEW. That's a lot of titles. The termination follows a week-long internal investigation of an incident occurring backstage at AEW All in London on Sunday, August 27th. Following the investigation, the AEW Discipline Committee met and later convened with outside legal counsel before making a unanimous recommendation to Khan that CM Punk be terminated with cause. Saw some stuff going around Twitter that showed the Young Bucks and then had that they were the committee. Khan offered the following statement. Phil played an important role within AEW, and I thank him for his contributions. The termination of his AEW contracts with cause is ultimately my decision and mine alone. Of course, I wish I didn't have to share this news, which may come as a disappointment to many of our fans. Nevertheless, I'm making the decision in the best interests of many of the amazing people who make AEW possible every week. Our talent, staff, venue operators, and many others whose efforts are unsung but essential to bringing our fans great shows on television and at arenas and stadiums throughout the world. Ooh. Thoughts, Rick Diesel?
I wouldn't be in charge of restocking the bathroom with toilet paper.
You say that again. You were breaking up a little bit.
I would not trust the Young Bucks to be in charge of the committee that restocked the bathrooms with toilet paper.
Yeah, I don't think they were actually on the committee, but that was a joke that was going around Twitter today.
Oh, okay.
And so somebody posted the video of Tony Khan's statement before Collision, which is similar to what you just heard him tell the live audience. JD from New York on Twitter posted it, and then another account that I followed called Vince McMahon's Thoughts, which is a parody. All right, so JD from New York, who posted the video, said Tony Khan addressed firing CM Punk before AEW Collision tonight. That takes some balls, in all caps, #respect. And then Vince McMahon's Thoughts posted, Tony Khan's lack of balls is the reason for this entire situation, pal. Hilarious. But let's see. And somebody else posted that John Moxley made a quote that said he said a year ago, he said, you should take the time and really enjoy CM Punk while he's here, because he's not going to be here much longer. Fragile ego, fragile mind, fragile body.
I agree that. I agree with all that 100%.
And Moxley worked with him in WWE. They worked closely together.
Yeah.
They were involved in some angles together, storylines, whatever you want to call it, together. And let's see, I posted and a couple of other things. That I ran across here.
Where did Brian and Reagan go? Are they still here?
Yeah, they're here.
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay. I just see me and Matt. I was like, did they leave?
No.
There they are.
Some other things that it surfaced on Twitter today. I love wrestling historians for this type of stuff. Let me see here. Got to figure out a way to share this and not busted for copyright again. Hang tight.
Hey, I do have to go though, because I got to go help shut down the food truck. Sorry.
All right.
I know I'm kind of non-existent on some of these things, but It'll change, I promise. But hey, you got Brian and Reagan. They take up my slack any day.
Oh.
All right. So thank you, Rick Diesel. See you later.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Yes,
all right. So you should be able to see the CM Punk slide again, but I'm going to roll some audio from SmackDown back when CM Punk was still on there. And Triple H, this was probably 2012, 2013, you know, before he left in the last couple of runs. But this is from SmackDown, and Triple H had some words for CM Punk in a in-ring promo, but a lot of it seems to be ringing true. Check this out.
For that change. Save me. You want to be the catalyst as long as it benefits you. I am sick to death of listening to you talk to how you're doing all of this for them. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there. Maybe half of them agree with what you're saying. The other half, they don't give a damn. You know what, Punk? Some of these people actually like the WWE. Some of these people dig it. They tune in every week. They love what they see. They come here to have a good time. They like it the way it is. Can it be better? Sure, it can be better. That's right. And that's my job, to make it better. But when you talk about being the catalyst for change, really what you mean is you will only accept change if it means CM Punk is on top. Because unless CM Punk is the guy, the man, that's not enough change for you. That's not really what you want. See, you're no different than anybody else that's ever been in this business, including me. We're a lot alike. We did what we had to do to get on top. The difference is I looked everybody in the eye and told you, I'm going to step on you. I'm going to walk through you to get to the top. You don't have the balls to do it. What you did is you backdoor your way around. You try to do it by being a martyr.
All right, so that was Triple H. Now, along about the same time, and again,
you see,
again, keep in mind, this is around a 2-year time period. He goes in and has a confrontation with John Cena on Raw, and this is what that sounded like. It's about a minute-long clip, so just hang tight.
You see, you have been here for many, many, many years, and the night you made the most noise was ironically the night your microphone was turned silent. I remember those days. Talk about change. Passionate, convicting talk of change. And then one triumphant night in Chicago when you were the victor and the universe finally said, we get change. And they were lied to. They were fooled into a false claim because change was not ice cream bars, change was not edgy television, change wasn't even new talent. All you meant by we want change is make CM Punk a star. You see, you have been here for many, many, many years.
And one last clip. This is from the Stone Cold podcast with Triple H right after CM Punk left. And listen to this.
CM Punk, are you cool with him? Or do you have your feelings hurt? He's a weird cat. Like, I don't mean that as a knock, but I mean that as a, he's hard to get to know. He doesn't talk. He doesn't communicate well. I would hear from everybody in my role now as, you know, talent relations and all that. I would hear to everybody that, oh my God, he's livid today. He's quitting. He's this, he's that. I'd go to him and say, what's going on? And I'd get, nothing. Everything's fine.
Interesting. Thoughts?
Well, I watched the Eddie Kingston promo that happened last year, maybe, and it was very similar. Have you seen that one, Brian?
No, I haven't.
I think it was around the time that everybody was on Eddie Kingston, like his body and things. Like, you know, he went through that body shaming incident, you know, and it might have been around the same time. And you know, some of it, same thing, you know, same kind of, but then my worry is, and I told Brian this, I was like, I don't know, this could be a work.
Yeah, it'd be great if it was. I just don't think it is.
If this is, then it's ridiculous. And how many times are people going to fall for it?
Mm-hmm.
If it is,
well,
I don't think it is, because it's just not a good idea.
Yeah, and if it is, why don't we get a match out of it, right?
Right. No, I think it is CM Punk's ego. He thinks, I've said it for years, CM Punk is a talented wrestler.
Yes.
But he thinks he is bigger than the show. And and like I said, if you think you're bigger than the show, then leave.
Yeah.
Do your own thing.
Because it will go on without you.
If you think that you're better than where you are, then leave.
Yeah.
But the fact is, he's not better than where he is. You're where you are because of you. Because it's not just about talent. It's about being professional, and it's about being courteous to your fellow employees, whether you like them or not. It's just like any other job. You have to check your ego sometimes. You have to work with people you don't like, and he can't handle that. And at that level, if you can't handle that, then you need to do something else.
You know, I just thought of this while you were saying that, Brian. And let's just be, I don't know if you guys have ever met the guy, but I've never met him, CM Punk. Never met him.
No.
Never been in the same building with him, never worked on a show with him when he was in the Indies, nothing. But I got to thinking about it while you were saying that. And I thought back to the whole thing that started this was Adam Page. Everybody said he went into business for himself. If you don't know what that means, I'm not going to tell you because we're speaking a little inside baseball here. But take that same situation, take CM Punk out, put John Cena in, and what the fuck would have happened to Adam Page if he had done that to John Cena? He would have got his feelings hurt and embarrassed on national TV because John Cena has a sharp tongue. Yeah, I know he's Mr. Make-A-Wish, Mr. Nice Guy comes in, and now that they got the strike going on in Hollywood, he's back on wrestling, at least for the time being. Did a great job refereeing the Miz and LA Knight's match last night. That whole thing, start to finish, was awesome, and Cena was a big part of that. And yeah, but like he will eviscerate you on the microphone, and just like he was doing to CM Punk in that clip we played. So it speaks to Brian's point, and I think it's a good illustration of being a professional and knowing what to do in a situation if something starts to go south, you know. And the consistent thing is, I want to believe CM Punk when he said, I work with a bunch of children, talking about the Bucks and Kenny Omega and all that kind of stuff. And then they went in his locker room and they got their asses kicked, as they should have, because they shouldn't have busted in a man's locker room. But did he need to do that at that press conference? We played it on this show. I mean, you saw Tony Khan was looking at him, was horrified.
Right.
Like, why the hell would you bring this backstage bullshit in front of the news media? And it's going to go viral because you're cussing a blue streak, you know, and then he comes back, and within he's only been back, a month or two, maybe? And he's already gotten fired. So the consistent thing is, it's Jungle Jack Perry this time. It was the Young Bucks and Omega before. Look for what's the same in each situation. Unfortunately, that's CM Punk. And so people might not like it, but maybe he does need to.
Because just think about the entire history of wrestling, of these big guys with big egos that are constantly clashing. And think about all the backstage fights that have happened, but they get resolved within the back because that's where it stays. CM Punk brings it, first you brought it out into public, and that's the issue. If you get in that situation, there are going to be fights. People, when you get that big of a group together, not everybody's going to get along, and there's going to be clashes.
Yeah.
You have to handle those things even when they get out of hand and everybody loses their cool, after that, you step back and say, okay, from this point, yeah, we lost our cool. We got in a fight. We shouldn't have done that. But now we need to settle it in a professional way.
Yeah.
And if that means somebody quietly leaving, then that's what we'll do.
The only thing I can think is similar to this, Brian, Reagan, you both are historians somewhat. The 90s when Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart had their thing going on backstage and they were jabbing at each other in public, but it never descended into anything. I mean, there were fights in the back. Bret yanked some of Shawn's hair out. The Bruise brothers jerked up Shawn in the bathroom and almost kicked his ass. Which Shawn Michaels has admitted he was a douchebag back then. He was on a lot of drugs, so he was out of his mind most of the time. Okay, fair enough, but it still is what it is. You asked for that. But it never descended into anything as public as this whole thing has been. It's what a mess this is.
And what's so sad about the situation is not only does it show what kind of business Tony Khan runs, but like there's a lot of great workers that work on AEW shows that get overshadowed by this nonsense.
Yeah.
They honestly have some of my favorite wrestlers. I mean, I think Ray Phoenix is injured right now, but like the Lucha Brothers, like great workers. They have all these guys in MJF, great on the mic, great worker. All this great talent that keeps getting overshadowed by all this nonsense in the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not about the wrestling. It's about all the things going on backstage. And, all these, the wrestling media on Twitter has just been out of control this whole last week. And like, one of the guys was telling me, they're going to fire. They fired CM Punk earlier today at the show yesterday. And I was like, where'd you see that? And he said, Twitter. And I was like, man, I've seen all kinds of crazy shit on Twitter all week. I don't believe any of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, it turned out to be true. That's the one thing on Twitter that was actually true this week. It's a shame because, and I do believe Tony Khan is an intelligent man. I mean, he's a statistician expert. He's a numbers guy. He keeps the stats for the Jaguars. He keeps the stats for their soccer team that's over in the UK. I mean, that's a pretty damn important job because if you go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, there is no stat that you can think of that you cannot look up there. So to be responsible for that and reporting that for a team is a big job. Not only that, he's a wrestling promoter. He does all the creative on his own. He's a hardworking guy. I think he needs some help. But I still think that eventually, one of these days, somebody's going to piss him off and make him mean, and he's not going to be Mr. Friendly wrestling promoter, shaking hands and hugging people at press conferences. He's going to be more like, you come to work, you get paid, you don't, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's going to be, they're going to make him mean and salty, and then they're going to be wishing they had the old Tony Khan back. That's what I'm afraid of for the people that work there.
It was a mistake for them to bring in CM Punk in the first place with the reputation that he had. But I can see making that mistake, maybe thinking, well, it was the WWE, they were treating him badly, so that's why he had such a bad attitude.
Yeah, and they were working him to death too. He's admitted, he's admitted saying the road travel was part of that at that time.
Yeah, you could see it in his face, his sunken face and bags under his eyes. I mean, he looked sick.
Yeah.
Every time he came out. And he was, and WWE did mistreat him badly. But so I could see them making the mistake the first time, but after he acted that way, after they had to get rid of him the first time, just bringing him back and thinking he was going to act differently was just, I still don't understand that. I'm like, well, yeah, of course I wasn't expecting it to happen this quickly, but I knew he was going to get fired again.
Yeah. And we're not defending Jack Perry by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
he provoked
no.
that, and he should have got his ass kicked for it, honestly. I mean, if you ask me.
Yeah. The thing is, Jack Perry is a young punk who he's really young, and he's on national TV. Probably got himself a little bit too much of an ego, and yeah, he probably needs to be brought down a peg or two. But CM Punk handled it the wrong way.
Yeah,
there are ways to handle it, and CM Punk was absolutely the wrong person to have handled it.
And not to agree with everything with like the way WWE is run, but you can't let the wrestlers be in control of the back. You just can't. You cannot have current like and take that much control and have that much power. Like it's like Tony Khan has to take his power back.
Yeah.
Because he's letting these young guys make bad decisions, and then but like I think as a Reddit thing, everyone's the asshole here. You know, it's not like am I the asshole or you it's everybody's an asshole here. And it's just a mess. And I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, CM Punk, yeah, ever since the thing happened with him and Colt Cabana, I've not liked CM Punk because I've always liked, I don't know Colt Cabana, but I've always liked watching him. He did the commentary for $5 Wrestling, and so that was really good. So you could tell like he had a really good personality and was funny, and you know, they were like best friends, and then they got sued for some things that got said, and then CM Punk just turned his back on him and left him to take all the heat, really. And it was just, you know, CM Punk, I mean, he's going to be all right because he's on heels, right? Like,
he's probably set for life anyway. He could probably never work a day in his life again and be perfectly fine.
He's frugal. He was talking about on his DVD that came out when he was still with WWE about how frugal he was. And he was talking about it ain't how much you make, it's how much you save. And he had talked about just basically being stingy, you know, that he had looked up to Mick Foley because Mick would always, usually Mick would do a thing where he would take the airfare trans that he was given by the WWE and put it in his pocket and drive. And he would go by the concession stand after the building was closing up and they were cleaning up. And he'd be like, hey, can I get all that extra popcorn? Would you put it in a trash bag for me? And he'd just take the popcorn down the road and eat popcorn and drive to save money, you know, because he was being frugal, and Punk talked a lot about that. So yeah, I don't think he's hurting for money. And his wife did write a children's book, I believe. So.
And I also think she wrote some comic books. I think she's also a comic book author, maybe. I might be wrong. I have to Google that. She does something with comic books.
Well, I am ever since like I loved women's wrestling when Trish and Lita were around because they beat the fucking shit out of each other. And then the Divas era came through and I didn't like it anymore as much because there weren't that many like great women's wrestlers during the Diva era. But then the Evolution thing came and AJ Lee came around, Charlotte came around, Asuka, Becky, Bailey, you know, that whole crowd that came around in like 12, 13, 14. And I still think AJ Lee left the WWE early because of the influence of her husband. So CM Punk, I still do not like you on a personal level because you took AJ Lee away from us early. She still had 10, 15 good years in the tank and was one of the finest women wrestlers I ever saw in my entire life. And she did it being shorter than everybody else and probably 50 or 100 pounds lighter than everybody else. So, and she could fucking go because I've been watching her since NXT because that's what got my attention. Wow, she's tiny. She's going to get killed by these big girls. And she held her own, and she had a great feud with Vicky Guerrero. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And she finally got her revenge on Vicky a couple of years later when she was already champion. And they made Vicky go to the ring, and Vicky faked an injury. And so they took Vicky to the ring on a stretcher. And Jerry Lawler said, I've seen a lot guys and girls go out on stretchers after the match, but this is the first time I've ever seen anybody brought to the ring on a stretcher before the match. And yeah, go out of your way and look that up. AJ Lee versus Vicky Guerrero. That match is so funny when AJ finally gets her revenge on her, years after the fact. But anyway, so anything else you'd like to say about CM Punk before we move on to our next set of ads and then the OVW show on Netflix?
Well, not really about CM Punk in general, but I was just going to say Reagan's right about you can't have wrestlers being given that much control, because that was the downfall of WCW.
God, yes.
Putting in contracts, creative control, all that. That's what you have to have people who aren't in the ring making the decisions, and you tell these guys, you're under contract, we make the decisions, you're the employee, you do what we say. That's how it works. Even if it's not the right decision, you have to have one person or one group making the decisions, and it's not all these little groups and each individual making decisions for themselves of what they're going to do. It just does not work. It's like if you had a movie, and you had the villains like, no, I don't want to lose this battle. It's like, well, no, that goes against the whole story. And that's what tanked WCW. And if AEW keeps going the way they're going, that's what's going to happen to them.
Yeah, eventually he's going to
money is thrown at them. It's going to tank them eventually.
And building off that real quick, what I was saying about all this good talent that AEW has, same thing with WCW. I didn't even think about that. Think about how all the great cruiserweight wrestlers they had, and their mid card and their mid card and cruiserweights, and even their other lower cards. I mean, they were great wrestlers, and they had great matches, but you had those egos that just sucked the life out of all that. And it just reminds me of like when you would watch a WCW and you would see Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit with a match just like one of the best, and all they're talking about is Hogan.
Yeah.
All they're talking about is Hogan.
Yeah, all they're talking about is Hogan, and then they shrink the screen over here, and then over in the corner show Hogan arriving in a limousine. I don't want to see Hogan arriving in a limousine. I want to watch these two guys wrestle.
Yeah.
And that's what sent Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, and
Eddie Guerrero
to WWE.
Yep, and Eddie Guerrero did a frog splash his first night there, broke his arm, and was out for 3 months. So
it still became one of the biggest stars in WWE history.
Yes, they did. Yes, he did. He was only there. I mean, if you think he passed away in 2005, he was there for 5 years, and boy, I mean, he made some waves while he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Rey Mysterio's son, Dominic, is pretty much copying Eddie's gimmick. He's got that same haircut. He uses the same moves, everything. Oh, congratulations to the Judgment Day last night. Finn Balor and Damian Priest ended the reign of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at the pay-per-view last night, albeit with a lot of help from Rhea and Dominic. I mean, come on, man. It was a no DQ match. They didn't have a chance. There were people flying every direction in that match. It's like, looks like some of the stunts you pulled with Rick Diesel in the past, Brian. Oh, mercy. Well, let me, before we move on to OVW and ESPN and versus Spectrum, let me go ahead and finish out our commercial segment for this week. I'd like to tell you all about Branch Management. They are a tree service that operates in the Mount Airy, Surry County area in North Carolina, but basically they do like more landscaping now than the major tree service. Basic landscaping is coming close. We're already September now, so it's going to be fall in a couple of weeks. But then October rolls around, and fall is the best time to plant. So if you're thinking about, putting in a new shrubbery, a new tree, anything, you give these guys a call. Ignore those numbers on the screen right now. I'll give you the right one in just a second. But if you need some pressure washing done, any general landscaping, they are the place to go. They do it cheap and do it well, and they will help you out. They got free estimates. You call them at 336-648-2487. That's 336-648-2487. Again, branch management, general contracting, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, and the best part's free estimates. So check them out and give them a call, 336-648-2487. Also, T's Treats, our most delicious sponsor. You can give them a call at 336-755-8204. Rick Diesel was talking about it earlier, how he's got a contract to keep one of the food trucks out at the Mayberry campground there in Mount Airy all year. So that's going to be fantastic. So if people want to get a sugar rush, T's Treats will be there for you, but they've also got the other food truck. They always do concessions for us at the AIWF Mid-Atlantic shows. Just great food, delicious pizza, delicious dogs, decadent desserts. I tried to make it all rhyme. Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff up and down the line. The ice cream was real popular yesterday. Tristan seemed to be selling a lot of the ice cream. So, but if you want to reach out to them, feel free to do so. Again, the number 755-8204. The area code is 336. Here's the number again, 755-8204. 336-755-8204. Call them up, see where they're going to be, try them out, and maybe then even bring them to your event. T's Treats, our most delicious sponsor, and we love them to death and thank them for their continued support here on Ringside Wrestling. All right. Now that piece of business is done, Reagan, you said that you wanted to talk about the new Netflix show that's coming out. I can't remember what it's called.
It's called Wrestlers.
Okay, Wrestlers.
Just Wrestlers, I think, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So I didn't know what it was going to be about. Like, it was kind of like you just saw the posters and you saw some wrestlers and some intense profile pictures and stuff. And so I was really curious because I couldn't tell if it was like a reality show or a documentary. So it looks like it might be just about Ohio Valley. Mm-hmm. And I guess if people don't know, Ohio Valley used to be the WWE training ground, pretty much, right, Matt?
Yeah, it used to be basically what NXT is now, developmental. Yeah.
And so, like Al Snow, I think is like their head booker, maybe. Mm-hmm. I know Al Snow is there. So I finally saw a preview of it today. And I think, like, this is what so I'm popping a can. Sorry, I'm sure you could hear that. But anyway, like, my biggest thing is, like, I'm looking at it and they're from the preview, it looks like they're perpetrating that this is independent wrestling. Does that make sense? And it just reminded me of like how Heels says this is independent wrestling, but they're not, WWE, they're not AEW, but like, is that independent wrestling? Technically.
Well, the company's not what it was when Cornette was there, and they were still a developmental territory. Even when Paul Heyman was there in the mid 2000s, when they moved to Florida and started up NXT, I don't even think Danny Davis owns the promotion anymore.
No, so, and they showed a lot of Al Snow, which makes me wonder.
That's right. Al owns it now. That's right. I'm sorry.
But I'm just like, yes, technically it is independent wrestling. Mm-hmm. Technically. Mm-hmm. Technically, I guess some people could say Ring of Honor at one point was independent wrestling. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's going to create this mystique that doesn't exist in independent wrestling. And maybe I'm wrong because I have not watched the show. I only watched a promo. I am sort of interested in it. These are just my first thoughts.
My expert opinion on the trailer.
Yeah. And it's just like, I'm curious to see if they treat it like that or if they treat it how they treat it.
Has that show come out yet? Are the episodes available?
I don't think so, because this is the first day I actually saw the trailer.
Oh, I saw it about a month ago.
Just seen the posters.
I saw the trailer about a month ago somewhere. And it got my interest, and I thought it was Ohio Valley, and I didn't really care. Because I can't even watch it when Cornette was there. I just don't. I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me for some reason. I guess just because I'm not familiar with it. Like if I would have lived in Louisville and it was available every week and I watched the specials on Saturday night, I feel like I would have been into it. But like looking back now, 23 years ago and trying to watch it, it's just like, I do independent wrestling as a hobby. I see it all the time. So I don't particularly want to watch more of it,
Because I saw, in the trailer they showed, I guess, Batista. Did he go to?
Yeah, he was called
then,
Leviathan up there.
And somebody else that's big now, but I can't like.
Well, there's a lot of.
Yeah, I mean there were a lot that came from, but Batista just stood out, I guess.
Mm-hmm. John Cena.
Yeah.
Randy Orton.
Coming September 13th. Yeah, John Cena. Cena.
And it's just gonna be. I don't know. I don't watch heels because like. I don't know. It doesn't look like. I don't know.
I don't watch heels because I'm not paying for another damn pay channel subscription.
Oh God, my mother pays for them all, so we watch what she pays for.
So, buddy. You're on the Buddy Flowers TV system, right? Yeah.
Yes. She does live with us, so it is in our home. So Netflix don't take my account away from me. Yeah. But like I'm just curious to see how it's set up. What kind of story it's telling, what kind of, I'm just, because I don't want people to watch it and then think, okay, maybe this is just me.
Yeah.
This is what I thought. It's like, I saw their crowds and I'm thinking, you're somebody that doesn't know a lot about wrestling. So you see this show on Netflix, you start watching it, and then you get that image in your head that's what it's supposed to look like with, because I'm sure they've got pretty good set, pretty good entrances, all that stuff. And then they're going, hey, I'm going to go to my local independent show and it's not going to look like that. So they're not going to give like realistic independents a chance because it doesn't look like that. Does that make sense?
I have to wait and see. I mean, I hadn't seen anything on the preview that like really like makes me like, I don't know, man. These documentary filmmakers, man, can manipulate shit to create any kind of narrative they want. And so we'll see. I mean, I don't know that I think that one thing though, I'll say, and I don't know because I don't study TV ratings enough to really be intelligently speaking about this, but it seems to me the average consumer, there's so many options out there now, like with 1,000 cable channels. You got YouTube, you got freaking Rumble, you got freaking Daily Motion, all these different websites where you can seek out the niche entertainment that you like. So I don't know that wrestlers will draw any type of mainstream people. Maybe somebody will stumble across, a few people will stumble across it accidentally, or how Netflix promotes the shows and, hey, this is what's in the top 10 today and stuff like that. It might get it trending like that, but I don't know. I mean, it might be a complete flop. Who knows?
Maybe I'm also pissed off that they canceled fucking Glow and I didn't get to see the year that they went to Las Vegas and Taya Valkyrie was going to be on it. And maybe I'm pissed because they're doing a wrestling show and didn't finish Glow. Maybe
they only did 3 seasons of Glow, right?
Yeah. And then they were doing a 4th season where they were actually really getting into it, like big time.
Why the show get canceled?
It because of COVID, so they had to stop. So they were filming in Las Vegas, and so when COVID hit, they just like everything else, it came to a halt. And then when COVID was over, they just decided not to stick with it. Because like eventually, because Taya Valkyrie didn't talk about that she was on it till afterwards, and I'm a big fan of hers. I really like her, and so she started putting up pictures. She had a pretty, she said she had actually got a pretty significant role in the show, and and they just pulled it. And so the way she made it sound was like they were like, oh, we're going back to make it, and then they just did it.
Well, it's not
notorious for having really popular shows that people really like, and then they just cancel them.
Really? Like, what's some other examples? Because
I can't think of any right now. I've just seen that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Of people, like I can't think of any particular shows right now, but I just remember seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's another show that I like, that a lot of people like, that a lot of people were watching. I think it may be a thing where, I can't say for sure, but maybe Netflix is like, well, once the show starts getting popular, they're going to start wanting more money, and we'll just make a new show for cheaper.
Always follow the money trail. It'll lead you to the truth every time.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you this about
Glow.
I will tell. This is my feelings about Glow. I love the first 2 seasons. I thought it was awesome. I thought the comedy was off the chart. I thought it was well written, well acted, but in the 3rd season, they started getting too preachy and they ran me off. I cannot deal with that kind of shit when I'm watching TV. I want you to make me forget about the problems of the real world. That's why I'm coming to you. This is fiction. Take me away,
But on the opposite, I really enjoyed that. I liked the human stories of it. And being so this was my thing that I had to cut. My thing for that show was I grew up watching Glow. Like I would watch. Okay, so I have like a really funny story about Glow. So I would watch. I don't know what channel it came on, but when I was younger, 8, 9, 10, it would come on really late at night. And so like I would stay up late and I would watch it. And my parents would go to bed, and so I would watch it. They knew I watched it, but they just didn't know. So one day I'm watching it. And they had a character, I can't remember what the woman's name was, but her guy was called Jungle Boy. And he came out and like leaves like over his crotch and stuff and things like that. And in the angle, something happened and he got free of her. And so one night he was in the crowd watching. She saw him, pulled him out of the crowd and started ripping his clothes off. Now, when she ripped off his clothes, he was still wearing like a nude suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, pretty much nude shirt, nude pants. So it looked like he was naked, but he wasn't. And my mother walked out right at that point. And then she told me I could not watch Glow anymore. So, because I was probably 8. So then I would sneak Glow, but that's my Glow. I'm a huge fan. I just found some DVDs when we were cleaning out recently, and so I'm super excited to watch it. But my problem was that is like the wrestling in Glow on Netflix was really good, like excellent, whereas the wrestling in Glow, the original, was
holy smokes! I bet your parents did flip out.
Did you find the clip?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you show it? Because it's pretty bad.
I don't know. We could try. I'm gonna have to do it without sound though.
Yeah, do it without sound. You don't need sound.
But yeah, that's
what was the woman's name? I can't.
Jungle Woman.
Oh, she was Jungle Woman. He was Jungle Boy.
I don't. It didn't say his name. It just shows
Nature Boy.
It just shows they're leading him to the ring. Ah, boy, shit. All right, so if you're watching on Facebook, you might. If you're watching on YouTube, we might get popped for this, but we're gonna take a look. Look at this. Oh boy, see, she's smacking him around. See, he's dressed in.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe. I'm so excited to see this.
Got his sweater tied around his neck.
Yeah.
So was he wearing it? Okay.
Oh, so he's got the jungle.
He's got the jungle stuff. Like I said, I was 8 years old when this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she saw. That's where she came out. That's where she came out, and I was told I could never watch that show again. So.
Yeah. Oh, Dave McLean. Bless his heart.
I mean,
he's mixed up in the WOW women's wrestling. I don't know if y'all get that up there, but it comes on one of our local channels down here, the CW channel on Saturday night. It's called WOW Women of Wrestling.
I've watched it. I've watched
similar.
some of it. Pluto has a wrestling channel, and they will have a block of time where they show women's wrestling. Sometimes they'll show Glow, and sometimes they'll show old WOWs.
Yeah. I remember after Glow folded up, Dave McLean went up to Indianapolis and with the help of Dick the Bruiser when his promotion was going out of business and started up POW. Remember that? Powerful Women of Wrestling.
Oh, yes.
Used to come on Channel 45 on Sunday mornings after Gunsmoke and before WWE. So,
yeah, because I have some friends who watched Glow on Netflix and loved it and thought it was great. And then I was like, let me show you what it was really like. And they were shocked.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Well, I mean, they were models and actresses who were just showing a few things and thrown in the ring.
Because
for what they were shown, they did pretty good for the small amount of training that they got.
The other thing that was obscene that they did was I don't remember the Spanish fly press by
the Spanish press.
The Spanish press
by Spanish Rose.
Spanish Rose. It was pretty obscene.
I'm not looking.
But they had like a couple of good. That's where Tina Ferreira. That's where Ivory came from. Ivory was Tina Ferreira.
Yes,
on there.
Yep, and she's now a cat lady. So all right.
Yeah. So she's some. There was a couple more that were wrestlers, and not Chavo. Hector Guerrero did the training of the women. I think it was Hector.
No, it wasn't Hector.
It was a Guerrero brother.
I think it might have been Chavo Senior, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because he did the training of the women, in the few things that they could do, but yeah, I think that's probably why I wanted to become a wrestler, was because of Glow, like the original, not the Netflix show. But
there used to be one. I don't know if she was in Glow with them, but she was in POW when they started that up. A lady that I had a tremendous crush on when I was a kid, and she was the worst heel they had. She was called the Syrian Terrorist, and she would do her promos, and she had that long black curly hair. But I mean, it wasn't like curly, like so where it was like, all knotted up. It was like, it was still, she had long flowing hair, and she would go, "Yes, and I am hotter than the desert sand." And it used to drive me wild.
Well, yeah, that was POW, because the terrorist they had in Glow was called Palestina.
Yeah. I think it was the same lady, though. I think it was the same lady.
Yeah. And then, they had Nanuchka, the Russian.
Yeah, I remember her.
And she would come out smoking like a cigarette.
Yeah.
And
I remember her.
Was it a cigar? But it wasn't like a big cigar. It was like a woman.
Like a cigarillo.
And then the other one that was really good was Dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And they would bring her out in a cage, and then she would be and then there was Chainsaw and Spike.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tag. I'm talking about, I love Glow. Love it.
Yeah, a lot of little girls. I remember a lot of girls, and when I was in school, would talk about Glow. All that was the wrestling. We were watching JCP, Jim Crockett Promotions, and the girls were watching Glow. Because it appealed to them.
There's not been a lot of mothers like mine that knew what it was really like.
Yeah, but girls mature faster than boys anyway, so they can handle stuff like that. But yeah, I did like the Syrian Terrorist. That was my girl, man. I always pulled for her, even though she was evil.
I might want to watch that tonight.
Yeah, man. When she said, "I'm hotter than the desert sands," I remember being like, "Yes, you are." She turned out to be. She's British, actually, even though she looks like she's from the Middle East. She's actually, and after Glow and Power over, she actually became a successful pop singer in the UK for many years. If you Google her, it comes up, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy, man. I always wondered what happened to her. But anyway, so last thing I want to touch base on the show this week is basically, it's not really wrestling related, but it's television related, and it's caused quite a stir. On Thursday afternoon, my wife was watching TV, and I saw ads coming up saying, you're going to lose your Disney, ESPN, Freeform, all these channels on Spectrum, because Spectrum won't come to the negotiating table. My wife's like, they're going to take our channels away. And I was like, they never do that. They've, they just do that to blow smoke up one another's asses to try to get the other one to bend. But it never happens. All right. And for those of you that don't know, I do love football quite a bit, and I'm quite the passionate Wake Forest Demon Deacons football fan. And about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, the screen went black. and it was on ACC Network, which is owned by ESPN, which is owned by Disney. So they kept their word and they pulled the plug, and all the channels have gone black. If you're a Spectrum customer, you know there's a little disclaimer on there now.
They actually that it did this. I don't know if it was Spectrum or DirecTV, but they pulled programming about 5 or 6 years ago in the same type of thing, because it would come up and it would say this channel is gone because DirecTV or Spectrum won't work with us, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they will actually pull the plug for a while, and then they usually end up coming to an agreement. But yeah, sometimes the plug actually does get pulled on the channel for a while, and then when they both start losing money because of it, then that's when they go back to the table. But cable's going to have to do something, because I mean they're becoming a outdated technology, and they're going to have to do something. I mean, I know a lot, like Spectrum are switching to, it's also doing internet.
Oh yeah.
So they may just have to start only doing internet and just get out of the TV game altogether.
Well, I hope to God that doesn't happen, because what happens if the damn internet grid busts? Then you're in big trouble. If we throw away all our linear methods of getting television and radio, we're going to be in big trouble. Because
you still need to have the free access to certain things.
Yes, that's why I still have an antenna attached to one of my TVs. I mean, everybody, the local stations broadcast in high def now. The only difference in watching with an antenna and with cable is the picture's not as bright. But guess what? You can go to Walmart or Kmart, if there's any of those left, and get an antenna with a battery booster that will make the picture brighter. So the thing about it that kills me is like what I've read in these articles. Okay, so just an example of how cable TV works. For those of you who might not know, each cable network has a contracted amount for each household the cable goes through, right? So most of them get like $1, $1.50, $2, depending if they're real popular, for each household they go through. So take a look up and down your street. Everybody that's got Spectrum, right? For FS1, they pay like $2.12. The cable company pays the network that much per household, right? Most of the cable channels are $1, $2 each. ESPN, the last time I checked, which was Friday, gets $9.42 per household. That's not ESPN2. That's not ESPN News. That's not Freeform. No, ESPN gets $9.42. And that has been something that a lot of people have been saying it's unjustified for many years. This is not new. This ESPN has been charging these outrageous, 3, 4, 5 times what the other networks charge cable companies for the better part of 10 years now, if my memory serves me right. Charter Communications, which owns Spectrum, according to them, came to them and said, hey, sports is really the only reason people are hanging on to cable. We want to make our business more viable, just like Brian was talking about, because if you're not a sports fan, I don't know why you still have cable, because you can get everything online pretty much.
I have this conversation with my mother all the time.
Yeah. And so, but see, I'm a big sports guy. They have the Fubo app and all that kind of stuff, but I don't want to stream it. It's already, because of satellite and bouncing here. The signal's already 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes delayed. If you use a streaming service, it delays the signal about 7 or 8 minutes. You don't believe me? When Sunday Night Football starts up, put one screen on cable and then run it, and then take your phone out and stream the game on Peacock and see how far it is behind. So that little kind of stuff bothers me. Might not bother you, but it drives me crazy. All right. So they wanted to make Disney Plus available to their customers, like similar to Comcast making Peacock available to its customers. Here's the thing. Peacock is owned by NBC, which is owned by Comcast Universal, right? So they can do that. It's their service, right? It's all in-house. Spectrum doesn't own Disney, and they wanted the Disney Plus to be included to the Spectrum customers and said, if you want to raise the rate, that's cool, but let's give the customers whose cable bills keep going up and up and up and up and up every year, let's give them something in return. You know what? If Spectrum were to come out and say, hey, now all Spectrum customers, your Disney Plus is included with your subscription, I would cancel Disney Plus on the spot and sign up through Spectrum. I would have been thrilled by that. But Disney doesn't want to budge on it, right? And so then they sent out a propaganda piece today, which I think is being funny as hell that it's being reported as a propaganda piece by NBC on Pro Football Talk's website, who again is owned by Comcast, who is owned by Universal, who is one of Disney's biggest competitors in content and in Hollywood and in amusement parks and everywhere. So you're calling Disney's letter propaganda, but your article that you wrote is your propaganda too, because you're a competitor, right? Let me say Mike Florio wrote the article. I've never really read that much of his stuff, but he's got a good reputation as being pretty, having integrity and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, to cut through the noise, here's some important points to consider as the dispute disrupts one of the biggest TV weekends of the year. That's Labor Day weekend, where we're at today. The bias is obvious and inherent. Consumers are smart enough to see that, and the message from ESPN is consistent with its corporate alignment. Although Charter claims that they value their customers, they declined Disney's offer to extend negotiations would have kept Disney-owned networks up for consumers in the middle of perennial programming events like the U.S. Open and college football. ESPN assert nothing. Sorry, tennis people, I'm just not into it. The reality is that all negotiations have to end either in a deal or the declaration of an impasse. When is the perfect time for consumers to lose access to ESPN? There's something always either happening or coming soon. Currently, it's tennis and college football. Next, in a week, it will be the NFL. Then comes hockey, then comes basketball, NBA, followed by college. There's always something that consumers will miss when ESPN goes dark on that. The article continues on to say, the statement also addresses the heart of the dispute, consumer access to streaming platform that, in Charter's opinion, the increased subscription fees subsidize. Even though Charter also claims to value Disney's direct-to-consumer services, the cable company is demanding these different services for free, as they have stated publicly, which does not make economic sense. That's what ESPN is saying in their statement. This is quoting ESPN again. Moreover, it does not make sense for consumers who desire the flexibility to have our streaming platforms as standalone services. So the message includes this borderline cartoonish effort to pressure Charter. Quote, Labor Day weekend is supposed to be one of the more relaxing holidays of the year in the United States. Unfortunately, Charter has made it stressful for its customers. Sorry. Many of whom have been experiencing up to 3-hour hold times to cancel their cable subscription after Disney's networks went dark. I got to call bullshit on that. Yeah, I don't, how would they know that? You know,
it's another, everyone's an asshole here.
Yeah, they are. Everybody's being an asshole. And I just look, I have said before in public and private, never let it be said that Matt Carter ever stood in the way of anybody making a buck. Now, I may have when I was young and dumb, but now that I'm older, I don't have any problem with anybody making a buck. You know, even if you told me, hey, I'm going to dye towels and I need to dump the waste into the river. Well, can you just dump a little bit of waste in the river? You know,
Matt.
Look, you know that, but you know that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know, there's a line, right? I don't understand why these companies that make millions of dollars, billions of dollars annually, they're owned by stockholders. Why, you know, and it boggles my mind. ESPN just fired a bunch of their tenured people a few months ago, not including all the people they let go during the pandemic, right? The people that were under bigger contracts and stuff like that. All the new faces on ESPN on those talk shows are new. That's why I stopped watching them, because I don't care what they think. It's just like the wrestling nerd crowd annoys the shit out of me on Twitter. Well, the sports nerd crowd that sit on ESPN as talking heads all day drive me crazy too. You know, I just want to watch the game, right? I don't understand you doing all these cuts, but yet you charge 5 times what every other cable network does per household. And then when Charter comes back, who's losing customers because of cord cutting, right? And says, hey, let us offer this. We'll pay you the extra money. And you tell them to go fuck off. Like how much Disney executives, Spectrum executives do you need? You already make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year with bonuses and all this kind of stuff. Like, really? You have to do this to the consumer, to these kids who love football, these fat white guys that love football, and take Wake Forest football away from me this year. Well, we're not even going to be that good, probably.
Well, I mean, the other thing, I mean, this all ties back to the right. I mean, I could go on about this forever. It all ties back to like the writers and actors strike right now. It's you've got these conglomerates, these huge companies that are making record profits, and like people are making cents, 1 cent every time our Netflix shows their show. Yeah. Maybe even less. Some people make a half a cent, you know, and they get these checks for like what? Like 9 cents, 10 cents,
or a penny,
yeah, from Netflix when their show is being showed over and over again. So like with The Office, like that's the thing. None of those people see any money from that anymore, even though that's Peacock's big seller for having their. I mean, in the beginning, that was their big seller for having Peacock. Was we're going to have The Office.
The whole
but none
series.
of those people see that money. So
yeah, I don't know how that worked. And wasn't there a story going around? I don't know if it was Ricky Morton or somebody that got a check for 13 cents from WWE for some appearances on DVDs or some merch sale or something like that.
Who knows? But I've heard that before. I don't know if it was Ricky, and it might have been Ricky, but like you see that before. I mean, the only person who's ever sued and got money for their image was Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
He gets paid now for every single time he comes on.
Yeah.
And he's like the only person, right? In that way.
Yeah, that's right. I heard him say
he
that.
Is the only person who ever successfully got money for them using his image. So anytime you watch on Peacock, he gets some money.
Yeah, he still gets a check every month.
Yeah, and that's just him. That's one out of what? Hundreds, tens or thousands of people that, I mean, it's just right now. I mean, I'm not a Disney adult. They creep me out. But I like Disney. I like Disney's product. I watch Disney Plus because I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
You know, so I consume their product, but I will tell you, corporately, they're evil.
Well, all corporations are evil because they have to be, because they can't just make, if they made $4 billion last year and they don't make 4.5 or 5 billion next year, then they're failing.
Yeah,
in the corporate rule, in the corporate world, you have to grow. You can't just be making $10 billion and be like, just sit back and be like, hey, we're making a bunch of money. We're making more money than we could possibly spend in 5 lifetimes. No, they have to have more. And then that's the problem.
And we're not talking about like the people like that like make huge amount, like Tom Cruise. Like that's not, you know, but there's like the little people, like, because one of our favorite, like we have a group of comedians and stuff that are writers that we listen to on podcasts and watch shows and stuff, you know, and they write for pretty much everything, every award show you watch, they write for, you know, and like some of them can't even afford, I mean, because California is very expensive and you have to be in California. You have to be in California, and they're not paid enough to be able to live in California when they're writing for the Oscars, the Emmys, the VMAs, all these things, and television shows.
That has been a problem in Hollywood since the 40s, because there is a joke in a Three Stooges movie, the one where they're looking for the rootin' tootin' diamond, and they're talking. Mo is telling Larry, he was like, man, if we get that diamond, man, we'll probably get a big reward, like maybe even $50,000 like that. And Larry goes, wow, Mo, with that kind of dough, we could get a one room apartment in Hollywood. Maybe, and said maybe, and that thing was made in 1946. And I'm just like, boy, this has been an issue for a long time, of real estate being overpriced out there. If they were joking about it in the 40s, so yeah, I believe that.
So it's just interesting. But we've
gone
down a weird rabbit hole. But yeah, but like I get Disney Plus, so I get Hulu and ESPN. The only time I ever watch ESPN is July 4th.
Hot dogs.
For the hot dog eating contest.
Oh yeah,
I do enjoy Peacock during the Olympics because you have, you can watch table tennis at 3:00 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah. That is pretty cool. But I'm frustrated by this whole thing. It's like, because my cable bill has consistently gone up year after year after year. But you know what? I don't have beef with Spectrum. And a lot of people hate Spectrum, but I don't, because my service is good. It works well most of the time. In the middle of the night, it depends on your neighborhood, I guess.
Ours is not. Our internet and our TV go off at least once a day?
No,
not recent. Well, once or twice a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or slows down. It does slow down like almost every day. Yeah. I mean,
they throttle it. They throttle it.
Yeah. So.
Because we're using more internet now than we have, the level I think that people are consuming internet before the pandemic and since the pandemic has probably quadrupled or even more than that. Who knows? And I think that's part of the reason they throttle it.
All I watch is streaming.
Mm-hmm.
All I watch is streaming.
Well, I want to go watch.
I can't stand a commercial.
I know. Well, yeah, I know the streaming is spoiling me, getting me where I hate commercials,
Because our Hulu has commercials because we have it through Disney. So, but it's like 1 minute of commercials, and I'm like, oh, it's a commercial. I can't imagine having to watch TV now. It would kill me. Hashtag first world problems.
Yes, indeed. Well, I could get going on something else too. Other broadcasting in the Philippines that pissed me off while I was over there, but I'm not going to start it yet. This is a wrestling show. We're not going down that rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Because nobody wants to hear me talk about my problems with transmitter capabilities and what they're actually being allowed to do in the Philippines. Is not a conversation anybody wants to hear. But anyway, okay, so we're going to get out of here, folks. Brian and Reagan, thank you so much for being here. We'll be back with you next week. And
more riveting.
Yeah, more. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that Marconi is coming. We need to be nominated. We'll be back with more riveting conversation, and we will find out hopefully more information about the upcoming television taping on September 16th. Stay tuned to all our social media platforms. As soon as we find out the news, we'll break it to you. And so for Brian and Reagan Danzig, I am Mad Matt Carter. We'll see you next week, wrestling fans, and until then, so long for now.